how to incorporate two pictures into one. So this client wanted to have the cat's tongue sticking out. Unfortunately, the picture that he had with the tongue sticking out was cropped, so I wasn't able to really replicate that reference image. So I took the other reference image and just incorporated the tongue into it. So I used this awesome website called Canva, and what I did is I removed the background and just kind of posed it a little bit, and then I sent it off for approval from the client first before I actually started to draw. Now, of course, I will show you kind of the methods of how I drew this cat. So the first couple of layers, I usually use some sort of neutral, lighter color. That way I get a good base, and then start to work my way up using darker colors. And what I did too was kind of blocked out some of the lighter sections. That way when I go back over it, I kind of already know where that pattern is. And since this is a tabby cat, there's going to be a lot of patterns incorporated. Now, I really loved how this one turned out, just because, for one, the animal's head is turned to the side, so you can get a really nice, beautiful feature. I don't really like the ones where the animal is facing forward, just because they kind of look a little bit more flat. So I like the ones that are a little bit more of not a posed one, but more of like a candid picture. So, and then what I ended up doing was kind of bringing in some of these creamy warm tones and some browns in there before I started to add some gray tones. So having a mixture between the browns and the grays really helped to incorporate that more lifelike look, because a lot of animals, they don't just have a blue or cool tone, they tend to have a little bit more of a warm tone, just because that does make them look a little bit more alive. Because when you're alive, you have more fleshy pink tones, more browns and pinks, than if you were, let's say, if you were dead, then you would be a little bit more blue in the face. So of course, I incorporated some warm tones in there as well, just to make sure, especially in the ears, I added some pink up in there too. And then in the highlighted areas, I used lighter blues, which does help to kind of create that nice, beautiful contrast between the warm tones and the cool tones. I talk about those a lot. Once I discovered how to use those two together, I always tell my students, this is what you need to do, is you play around with the warm tones and the cool tones and see how that turns out, because it really does make the portrait look so much better. So you could see that in the mouth area, there's a lot more of a cool tone happening. So when I'm applying the colors down in that area, you'll see here in a second, I'm applying more of those cooler grays and cooler darker colors at the same time. And when you're drawing small, like I'm drawing, this is a 4x4 size, you definitely want to make sure your pencil is nice and sharp, and then go in with the details as best as possible. So this one here, I definitely incorporated like those highlights in the that curve of the ear, and then as well as the texture of the fur too. You'll want to make sure you're defining the texture and the direction of the fur. That way the picture actually looks more realistic, even though it's really small. And so now you can start to see, yeah, I may have a little bit of some warm tones, but underneath, once you start to add up more layers, and then underneath the chin there's going to be more cool tones. So you'll see here in just a minute. Now these eyes, they looked a little bit flat, so I just added some highlighted features in it, which all you have to do is just pretty much add a white color pencil, make it sharp, and just kind of create a little bit of some highlighted effects in there. No, it's not going to be 100% pure white when you apply it. It's not like paint. It's not going to do that. So just be mindful of that. Now, when I put the tongue in there, I just left room for it. And then I just kind of drew it based off of the other reference image. Just kind of made like a rough outline and tried to make it look as natural as possible. And it turned out really, really cute, because that is just how this kitty actually poses a lot of the time, with the tongue sticking out. And what's funny is I had my childhood dog was a little Chihuahua, and she was born with her tongue sticking out, literally. So she always had her tongue just sticking out as like a default pose. So I do know for a fact that animals do this, and it is so adorable when they do it. So I just really like that this client really wanted to emphasize that key feature for it was a gift for one of his good friends. So just wanted to make sure that that was actually going to be incorporated in there and look good at the same time. So yeah, it may not be something that you have to that you can look at like another reference image. So you kind of have to use your imagination a little bit in terms of getting the proportions correct. But with a tongue, it really wasn't too hard, just because it's just a small feature. So I was able to say yes on this one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to check out the links as well if you are curious about the materials that I have. I have a full-on materials list, and you can also learn to draw your own pet with the program that I have available as well. It's 8 weeks, and it is learn at your own pace. But thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.